So I know we're all jazzed up about the debates and it's very entertaining, but all the more reason to get into our practices and stay very grounded. I have a feeling that things are going to get really weird in the next couple of months, so I think grounding practice is good. So I wanted to do just a little mini exercise just to begin to explain somatic work and just give one little exercise that's going to kind of get you into that feeling of what it feels like to feel interesting sensations in the body. So a lot of people do this work through breath work or through meditation, though I find that a lot of times that can actually disassociate some people. So I know that when I meditate or I close my eyes or do breath work, sometimes I disassociate from my body. It doesn't actually bring me into my body, which is why I practice more yoga and activity-based practices. So once again, I've explained before, but what I'm studying right now is somatic healing and somatic work, and it's a therapy based on mind-body connection, rooted in polyvagal theory, which is the vagus nerve, which connects to the brain and moves through the central systems of the body, the gut, lungs, heart, chest. It's why when you're feeling a particular mental state, it can affect the gut, the heart, make your heart clench, make you feel queasy, pins and needles through the body, chills, freezing up, all sorts of things. So there's a connectivity between what's happening emotionally and what's happening in the body. And if these things aren't expressed, like how animals do in nature, they just like shake it out when they're stressed out. We don't do that as humans. We often repress, and these energies get locked in the body. So things like shiatsu, emotional freedom technique, EFT, a lot of it is about getting into points in the body that release the energy. So I am studying this right now. I'm studying different somatic practices. A lot of it is tied into neuroplasticity, which is like very hip right now. It's like all the rage, talking about the wiring in the brain, but the brain is part of the body, and it is physiology. It's all connected. So an exercise we're going to do first, just for those of you who aren't, traditionally in a yoga practice. One thing I will say about yoga, if you haven't done it before, it's very challenging. So I never encourage people to just jump right into a even average level yoga class because you're going to hate it, I'm afraid, and you might not go back. You really want to ease into the practice slowly. It can be very uncomfortable, especially for people who aren't used to getting deep in their body and feeling the sensations of the body. So you want to start very slowly, coming in and out of it. It's a detoxing process as well, so after every yoga class, I'm pretty spaced out, sometimes I'm nauseous. You're detoxing every time you do it. But just to start to feel the body, we're going to do a pose called wood stackers. And this is to open up the hips, but it's an interesting sensation. So a lot of us don't even know the tightness in our hips or don't even know what that sensation feels like. So we're going to start by taking our bottom leg, just like how you sit Indian style, your bottom leg. You're going to put it out in front of you at a 90-degree angle with the foot flexed. So flat foot flexed, your knee as close to the mat as possible. Mine doesn't touch. I do not have the most open hips. They're not bad. You're going to take your top leg and place it over this leg. Flexed foot as well. The actual heel will touch the knee. This knee will come over the heel. So you're basically stacking knee to heel. Now a lot of people do this and they pull this leg in, this leg's in. There can't be any angling or it's cheating. You'll notice you get the same sensation. So 90 degrees. 90 degree out and over, bottom leg, flexed foot, 90 degree, top leg, knee over heel, heel over knee. Sit up tall, and then with this hand on your top knee, slowly push that knee down towards the heel. And breathe. And you're going to feel this sensation right here in your hips, your hip flexors. This is tight on most people, because in our culture we don't do a lot of squatting. We sit in chairs a lot. So as you push down this knee, you can feel that sensation as you're sitting up tall in your hip flexors. If you're fairly loose or you want to challenge yourself, you can practice leaning forward. Not arching your back like this, pulling up and out forward as if you're reaching your chest up towards the ceiling. So reaching forward as we slowly press down on that knee. Still breathing, breathing into the hips. Flexing those, keeping those feet flexed. And you'll feel as your hip slowly starts to release. It's a weird sensation. So much of yoga is putting ourselves in odd positions or interesting positions just to access body sensations that we never access, we never get to. So when you come back up from this, we're going to take this top leg and just swing it behind us, coming into pigeon. So in pigeon, that front leg is in front. We're pulling our back leg out behind our body. You can start in just a high pigeon, just like this, arching your back. And then you can ease down slowly, depending on your comfort level, into pigeon. And then full pigeon is placing your head right on the mat. So also opening up, you're feeling the sensation in this hip bone, probably in the thigh, the quad. Probably stretching out a little bit of the quad on that side. And you breathe. And now with pigeon, you stay in pigeon typically for a minute, maybe two, because it takes a while for those thigh muscles to really let go and release. So these are just interesting practices to start to get you into what some people find uncomfortable about yoga, but what's also really fascinating about it. So once again, swinging that leg around, right back into wood stacker, hip openers. And then a further practice, so you do it on both sides, obviously switch sides. And then to further get into the hips and release the hips, we just come into our Malasana squat, which is having our feet close to the edges of the mat. So straddling the edge of the mat and easing right down into a squat. Feet flat on the mat. Also, once again, in many cultures, in India and China, they sit like this. They cook like this. Women give birth like this. In our country, in our culture, we don't. So this is also uncomfortable for a lot of people. At first, they're like this. Their heels are up. They can't even get their heels down to the mat. Once you make it down to Malasana, you try to sit up tall and press those knees apart with your elbows. So, just starting to get familiar with the body, the different parts of the body, the parts that we don't access. People hold a lot of stuff in their thighs and in their legs. People hold a lot of stuff in their backs, men especially. Women especially hold things in their hips and thighs. So slowly we'll be doing practices to release and open up these different parts of the body. So it's interesting. Namaste. Have a beautiful day.